Here are 5 things to know when doing business with Indigenous entrepreneurs and business owners and our communities. Number 1, they may not look you in the eye. Now, I shared with you in this training the importance of eye contact and where this comes from. In our culture, when we oftentimes, for example, if you were to meet me in person and we were talking after an event or before an event, and we're talking face to face, you'll often notice I go like this. And then I'll look at you. And then I'll go back down. And then I'll look at you. If I maintain eye contact with you, in our culture, in our ceremonies, that is a form of disrespect. So when I come and I'm trying to work with you, you have to have that awareness that I may not maintain eye contact with you because I'm showing you respect. If I bow my head and I listen to you, I am showing you respect. So that awareness must be there because you're going to encounter that. Number 2, oftentimes when greeting Indigenous peoples, it's appropriate to give a handshake. When you're greeting an Indigenous kukum or a grandmother, an elder who's female, you can give her a hug. It's a form of respect. But everyone else, you give them a nice firm handshake and you can bow your head a little bit. Don't maintain eye contact because again, that's disrespectful. But you just bow your head and give a nice warm handshake. That is a form of respect. That's how we greet each other. And if you want to take it a step further, understand how they say hello in that territory that you're visiting, that you're living in. For us, we'd say, danse, danse. That's how we greet each other. Number 3, it's important to respect Indigenous languages, their culture, their regalia, their accents, and not to culturally appropriate them. What I mean by that is, oftentimes we have grown up through different areas where sometimes a school would have a mascot that's offensive to Indigenous peoples. We've had professional sports teams where that's the livelihood that they give off. An inappropriate mascot, name, and so on. And so everyone else thinks it's okay to call each other that, to associate an Indigenous person towards that. In our organizations, in our businesses, in our communities, if we're doing that, then we're inviting racism, prolonged discrimination to continue in our communities, in our businesses. We have to respect that if someone wants to come into our organization and wear a ribbon skirt, a female, if an Indigenous man wants to wear a medallion, to wear their hair long, braided and so on, we have to respect those cultural differences. We have to respect that some people may have a thicker accent because their first language is an Indigenous language. We have to be respectful towards that. We don't make comments towards making fun of their language, of their culture, of what they wear, how they dress and so on, how they sound. That is extremely disrespectful. So if you have questions about something that they said, something that they're wearing, something that they told you about, a story, something they did on a weekend, do it alone, not in front of other people, in a respectful way. Because if you do things in front of other people, you put them on the spot, they may feel that you're attacking them. You're being disrespectful towards them. So number 3, respect their language, their culture, the stuff that makes them Indigenous. You don't have to pry and pry for questions all the time. You just have to expect that that's how they are and that's how they choose to live their life. And honor that. Be respectful towards them. Number 4, not all Indigenous people grow up on the reserve. There is a rising demographic of non-Indigenous peoples living in the urban centers, living in towns, living in municipalities, and so on. Not everyone grows up on reserve. And there's 2 different worlds between that. On reserve is a different world, off reserve is a different world. They both have their pros and cons. Oftentimes people have to leave and live off reserve because there's not enough housing for them on reserve. That's still our problem for me back home, where there's not enough houses for us. There's not enough ample opportunity for us to even create a home there. So it's challenging for us. We have to live off reserve. And it's a different way of living because now we're living in two worlds, so to speak, trying to find ways to fit into both. Because here's the reality. When you become a role model and you overcome hurdles, I'll give you an example. I'm considered a role model in my communities. They also expect you to know your language, know your culture, your traditions. So there's double the pressure there. You're continually juggling back and forth, walking from one world to the next. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of work. And that's what society doesn't see. You may be successful in one world, but they won't respect you in this other world. It's a totally different way of looking at it. And that's something I still struggle with to this day. Number 5, intergenerational trauma is common for all of us. We all have ties and links to the residential school era that left a devastating effect upon the present landscape. And many families are struggling to overcome that intergenerational trauma. There's a lot of people that have to, that they put their foot down and said, it's not no more. It's not going to happen in my family. I gave you an example with my own mother. She had to sacrifice a lot of her own needs, wants, and so on for me, so that I didn't have to go through what she went through, I didn't have to go through what my kukum went through, and so on, my ancestors. And so I still have to do that to this day because my wife also has her own story. Went through, in many cases, far worse than what I went through. Her own grandfather was a residential school survivor, abused in all forms, passed away as a young man. Trying to find ways to not allow our children to feel and go through that, but to empower them to live in this world, but also stay true to who they are as Aisinoak people, Nehioak, as Indigenous or Cree people, wherever they come from, and to be proud of that and to understand who they are and where they come from. Those are the 5 things I want to share with you on how to do business with Indigenous entrepreneurs and business owners.